I was sitting next to you on the couch, right? Or it was the next morning whenever fucking Sapphire was speaking. I don't know. One morning I was sitting next to you at one point and you said a portal just opened.
That was that when Grace was doing that.
Okay, and I didn't see, hear, or anything, but I felt a shift in me as soon as you said that. And for me in those moments like that, because everyone's talking about always seeing stuff and I haven't really been
right.
I don't see a lot. And so for me in that moment to be able to recognize and say, okay, like it's okay that he is seeing a portal open because I am feeling that shit. And that's okay.
And I just saw something vague. I didn't see like some big crazy vision.
Yeah.
I just saw something vague, like in the middle of the room up top, almost like a translucent blue or something. I was like, whoa.
Almost like a pretty rainbow reflection from like a light or something coming down.
It was just almost like a circle of water. It wasn't even too much. Nothing, you know, it was just very, but I just felt, like you're saying, I probably felt it more than I saw, but I saw something. And then Deanna told me the next day, she's like, right when you said that, right before you said that, I was imagining, you know, that she was the I am and that she was playing with the waters like this. Ooh. She said right when she started like stirring the waters, I was like, I see a portal opening.
Wow.
And then right when I said that, boom, then that led to you had a feeling and we was all able to start engaging whatever it was. And if you think about, that's the same thing the shaman did in their way. They're opening a portal. They're creating an atmosphere, they're inviting, right? And that's the same thing we did. So, and with the music and everything. So we are using the same technology. Okay, the tools might be different, but we're opening a sacred space that is open heaven for all intelligent beings and dimensions and angels and powers and everything to come and assist in healing and awakening.
And if you notice, the shaman said, all light beings, all light, whatever being you are that's already illuminated to truth, that can assist in this sacred geometry over here that we're doing. I bet you the sacred geometry of our agreement pulled in that on already, kind of made them like aware of that, you know?
He said that there was so many in the room.
He had to push through them.
He had to push through them.
For so many grandfather spirits.
And they said after we left, they had another ceremony, and that happened again with all different types of ancestors and natives, and that we was dropping the bomb over there.
Why?
See, so it's not just about the ayahuasca. We have
because there was like so much honor from us.
We've already been preparing our hearts.
To be this.
Minute,
yeah.
You know, without even knowing that we would have that experience.
Right.
So it was true. It wasn't for something. It was for the truth.
It was almost like there was so much honor from us and like so much like fucking, you know, like this is so much meant to be like you guys are it right now in this moment, and there was so much of that frequency coming from us to them that it was almost opposite for them. It was like flip-flop for them. It was like they were like this and so much honor like towards us and for us, and so that's how they had their experience.
She had been praying, Father, where's the community, where's the tribe, you know? And then 2 days before we came, she saw a bunch of people in her house. And then so when Mindy told her she got some friends in town, she was like, okay, as soon as she saw us, she knew this is it. So divine going both ways.
So do you mind if I share something that came up while you guys were talking? Because of what you guys were talking about, because we're honoring all things, because we're honoring other ways of healing. So the shamanic way, one of their biggest tools that we all know is the center of everything, life, God, breath. Yeah. And so they're very, very aware. Like when Ramon came to comfort me at the beginning of the ceremony, when I was struggling before I let go, the first tool, because it's who he is, because he's aware of his breath, and that makes you aware of God. He knew what the Spirit was already doing. And the first thing you're ever going to say is, breathe. The second you say breathe, it's a word that makes me conscious of my breath. I know that I'm breathing, so I know that I'm okay. And that's the beginning of letting go. The beginning of letting go is knowing that I'm okay because I'm breathing. knowing that God is with me because He is my life. He is my breath. He is that pneuma, ruach, wind, whatever.
And then what if you say, I am the breath?
Yep.
So then it doesn't feel like something that's filling your
Yep.
cup. It feels like you're moving in and out. Because you're not just the breath in your body, you're the rest that is connected to, which is the breath all outside the body.
Yeah.
So we are the spirit moving the waters, because this is the waters, the mind
Yeah.
is the waters, and the world is the waters. So the spirit moved upon the waters and said, let there be light. So even to say, it's just the breath that goes in you coming back out, but you're moving it with your tongue and making it into noises.
Yeah.
Every word is just the breath.
Yeah.
So the spirit turns into word. In the beginning was, and the word was with God,
Yeah.
which is spirit, and the word was God, which is spirit. So the word is spirit. My words are spirit and life.
Yeah.
Jesus. So we are the spirit of life that takes the life that we are and puts it into words and creates reality with our words, and we move everything with our words, but nobody told us that. So we've been create a fucking crazy hell to live in.
Hey, stop there. Stop there. Stop there. So that's awesome that you said that phrase, because I was waiting. I was like, when can you say this part of what you were engaging with? And then you said, I made this hell. And I literally was hearing, to know your breath is to know God. And that is, now hear me out here.
I feel that.
Listen to this. How often did we ever think about our breathing until our breathing made us think about our breathing? A panic attack isn't bad. It's a sign. Breath is literally going, because you have become aware of your breath. You become aware of your life. You become aware of God. And in fact, in a panic attack, most of the time you think you're dying, but your breath is screaming at you, a signal that there's something big going on. And so it's not a bad thing. So it's life screaming at you. It's God screaming at you. You're not willing to listen. You're going to get to a place where there's a cry from God that is you, that's in you. And then what happens the second you start hyperventilating? You become aware of your breath, hardcore. You care about breathing. You care about God. You care about your life. It's a giant wake up every time. And it's going to continue crying out that signal until you answer that call, and become aware of your breath. To know your breath is to know God.
That's the truth.
Yeah. And so even if you make your bed in hell, I'm there. Because you can.
To me, the last stage now, I'm in my last year, because I'm big on that. That was one of the first things in my awakening about 15 years ago. A friend of mine gave me a book. It was called Meditation for Dummies. I didn't know anything about meditation. It was like, yeah. So what I was thinking was I was simultaneously waking up to two things, what I could explain it a lot easier now. The waters, I didn't know it as the waters back then, but I knew about the quantum field. I learned quantum science, so I started understanding about everything being energy in a field. I didn't have the terminology from the Bible, which I say the waters. And just barely learning a little bit, but then the breath, because the meditation book, I was fucking crumbling my business. I had to come clean, confess to my parents I was doing lines of coke. I'm gonna crash this whole shit, and I'm not happy. I was starting my awakening process, but it started by crumbling everything. And so I had to move in with them. They had a really nice condo. I had to move in with them for a little bit, humble myself. I still had business making money, but actually I told them, I think I was already telling them I was checking out. I was like, listen, if you want to buy my clients from me, my companies from me, I can't do this. I had a good, big business. And so I lived with them for a couple months, and I read that book. I never got past the first page, but it was the first explanation or exercise. And it was just sitting down, becoming aware of your breath. Just sitting, no matter what you had going on, no matter what you're doing, sit down and take your mind off of that and put it onto the breath. And you follow it all the way in, feel it, you concentrate, you watch it coming out. Just give your attention fully to the breath. And you do that for minutes. And every morning I would wake up and I would go in the bathroom, and the bathroom had a fader light. And that's just on off, it was a fader. So I would fill up the bathtub on hot. I would fade the light almost all the way down. I get in the bathtub and I just sit in there for a couple minutes. And then I start breathing, and I start watching my breath in and out, and it started taking me places. Within minutes, started taking me places. Like I lost consciousness of my body. You know, I'm having experiences and stuff, and I did that for a while. Later in life, when I started, you know, I got into New Age, I got into this, I was awakening. I went with Truth Seeker to for his birthday. We went to New Orleans. We went in a flotation tank, deprivation.
Yep.
And that's what I was already doing back then when I first started waking up, because a float tank, you go to it, it's a chamber that you get into, so it's totally dark. It has water in it that's 98.6 degrees, so the same as your body, so you don't even feel it because it's the same. And it's saline water, so you kind of float like a heavy salt, almost like the ocean, how you can float lighter, but more salt, so you kind of float on top. And you go into it in silence. Some people you could do binaural beats. I did it like that. But anyway, you're depriving your senses. You're taking away your sight. You're taking away your feeling. You're taking away, there's nothing to hear. You're not eating. You're not smelling. So without your five senses, what is there? It's what's beyond your body. And so I was already doing that, because I go in, I fill up the hot water, same temperature as my body. I turn the lights out. Nobody was up yet, so it's quiet. Get in the bathtub, and then I'll just breathe. And then through my breath, I will go into the light.
Yep.
You know? And so what I was saying about the breath, I feel like the breath is the spirit of the light in this realm.
Yes.
But so to go back out of this realm, you go back through the breath to engage the light.
Come on.
You know? But in order to engage the light, you got to sit in the darkness. You got to sit and close your eyes and go in. And you sit in the darkness, you get into the spirit, and then you wait upon the Lord, which is waiting for the light to appear and manifest and take you into an experience.
And the Bible has made this very clear, even, that if you'll be still, you'll know God. Be still and know that I am God. That's how you know that He is God, she is God, and that you are God, and that we are God. Right. And that just ever expands.
I just read it over your toilet while I was taking a leak. I'm like,
yeah.
It's interesting how that verse evolves over time. Right?
And guess what's happening while you're being still? You become aware of your breath. Breath is God. And breath actually activates divine intelligence.
That's why
when you become aware of it,
that has breath, praise the Lord. Yeah. Because the Lord is the light that gave His breath of life to all things. So all things have the breath of life, and says he who's joined to the Lord is one spirit with the Lord. One spirit with the Lord. Now the spirit is the Lord, spirit and breath. Now the spirit is the Lord, and where the spirit of the Lord is, there's freedom. Freedom from what? Thoughts.
Yep.
Because where the breath consciousness is, you're not in your head and in your mind thinking. So there's freedom.
And what's cool is you leave your thinking, quote unquote, which is dualism in the oneness. It's God's mind is the only mind, but you think it's your thinking because of separation. But as you breathe, you actually can become aware of God's thoughts, quote unquote. Truth as well. Because you're aware of your thinking.
The name of my baby, heavenly wisdom.
Yep.
Heavenly wisdom.
Yeah. Come on.
Divine intelligence. Word of God. Right? So in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. But wisdom says, I, wisdom, was there with the Lord in the beginning. I was the first of His acts, the first thing He brought forth. So heavenly wisdom is the divine intelligence or the Word. And it's there in the rest with the source.
Yep.
In the waters.
Yep.
And we're dancing.
And you become aware of those waters through breath. That's how I've always heard God and didn't know it. Is I would go in my office and I would go, I want a word for the congregation. I want where you're at, where we're at. It needs to be a now thing, prophetic. It needs to be prophetically relevant to our now circumstances. Like, help me. And I would just sit there and of course, right in that breath, I tap into the mind of Christ that I'm always in. I'm not always aware of it. I'm not always aware of it. Because when I'm not believing that I'm light, I don't feel like light. I'm not experiencing that reality in my human experience. But now I just believe it no matter how I feel. So now I'm able to see.
We need the GoPros and all the equipment, because every one of these conversations
recording the whole
awesome.
Thing.
Awesome.
And so I just want to tell you people, I know this is going to sound scandalous because there's a lot of things that are bold truth that offend the complexity of the Christian gymnastics and calisthenics that we've been practicing for so long. But it's very, very simple. God is breath. Breath is God. And when you're aware of your breath, you're being aware of God.
Let God out of the box.
Yes.
Let God out of the box of your mind and your small thinking, and up to maybe God is the one and only life, filling all things, including in you, through you, for you, and as you, and all that is His is yours.
Yeah. Yep. In Him, you live and move and have your being.
And
That's
her.
just truth.
And her.
And in her.
The light, the waters, the word, and the breath. That's all inside of us as the earth. The light, the waters, the word, the breath manifesting through this earth. Divinity.
I need to start on dinner.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Love you.
Was that live?
And it's recorded. It's about to go online.
Nice.
Nice.
Wow.
And this dude is just studying one of the funnest Bibles in the world.
I mean,
We love you guys.
love you guys.
Sha 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 rabasha.
Where's my phone?